mastering your one thing for superhuman achievement. Who is ready to dive into this? If you have any particular things you'd like to get out of this conversation around superhuman achievement, around your one thing, would love to hear what those are and what you want to get out of this, what the biggest takeaways you are looking for out of this conversation. Knowing me, Chris Burns, becoming your greatest possible self, what we're all about here, helping people to be their GPS. Would love to hear what those comments are, questions are. Drop them in. And if you catch this replay, then definitely just shoot me a message. We'd love to include some of these things, but I don't yet touch on it on this interview in future episodes. I always love hearing what you're looking for, what your challenges are, obstacles, opportunities for growth, and delivering the gold for you to grow in that. Not just me, also the guests that I bring onto this show. So let me know what you're looking for, what you're hungry for, and I'll definitely take notes and bring you even more great content that's totally in alignment with you. That being said, I want to talk to you because you're becoming your greatest possible self. Specifically, I want to support you with staying tuned in this 12-hour marathon. We're here every Wednesday, and we always deliver the gold for you. So stay tuned, subscribe to the podcast. If you want it on a custom delivered basis, an episode just about every day, then subscribe to the podcast, beyourgps.com/iTunes, or search Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store or on the internet, and you will find us and be able to subscribe to those podcasts, okay? And then the next thing is, when you do that, make sure you give us a review. We have a review of the week. It's by Brian Kelly this week. Brian says, authentic and energetic. Chris is as authentic as one can be. He loves helping people, and his energy is infectious. Watch this show if you want to become your greatest possible self. Thanks so much, Brian. I appreciate you sharing that. And for you out there listening, if you want to get a chance to get shouted out on a future 12-hour marathon all day long, search Apple Podcasts, Greatest Possible Self, give us a review, and then you will be entered into the drawing to be shouted out on a future episode. Also, if you are someone who wants to keep growing yourself as a guest on the 12-hour marathon, and you want to launch your podcast, you want to get your message out to the world, you want to build your own platform, let's talk. Would love to support you however I can. And the best way that starts is through a conversation, is through letting me know you are out to play a bigger game and make a bigger impact. So let me know the type of impact you are committed to creating in the world. I love you, and I acknowledge you for having a message, for having a purpose, and really stepping up to the best of your ability. Anything I can do to support you, let me know. Let's dive into the topic of today, the one thing, and why I made this the topic. Why do y'all think I made this the topic? Write in the comments. Love it. Working on embody it. Ooh, love it, Megan. I love that topic. So Megan said, let's work on embodiment, that topic, and dive into that. So I'm just going to make a note real quick to cover that during this briefly. And if we want to go into it more in the future, happy to do that as well. The one thing. Why do you think I wanted to talk about that today? I love listening to people, to the world, to nature. I love to listen. One of my favorite things to do. Love to listen to my girlfriend, share her victories, her inspiration about her day, about her life, about what's important to her, about her challenges, her fears, her frustrations. I love to, because I just love being around her in her energy and witnessing such a beautiful human being and soul. I love listening to my clients share about their biggest dreams and aspirations and reminding them that they get to unleash, they get to let loose around me. I believe many people are not utilizing the gift to their utmost ability, and that's okay. We're going to talk about diving into that even more. You'll see how and what capacity. Specifically, though, I want to talk about listening because in today's world, we're taught to listen to as much information as possible, as many sources as possible, to follow people on social media and see what they're doing, see what they're posting, to read all these brilliant inspirational quotes, to sign up for every course, every program, every live event and seminar that we possibly can. Everyone wants us to listen to them, to their offer, to their opportunity, to their gifts, and to their purpose. And I say hallelujah that is going on. We live in this time and age where everyone wants our attention. It's a beautiful time to be alive. And there are also consequences for the people who have not yet established boundaries, who've not yet established what is and is not relevant to them, the people who are willy-nilly and indiscriminately listening to these different sources. I had Misty Gilbert on earlier, and she talked about making sure that you're in alignment with your vision and your purpose. Are you really in alignment with it? Are you really embodying it, as Megan said earlier? Are you really embodying it? And I think a lot of people don't even know what they want. So one of my biggest challenges was figuring out what is my one thing. And not only that, I judged myself the whole process of when I actually found something that was good, I said, no, this isn't good enough. I'm not good enough. My one thing was not good enough for me. My one thing was not worthy because deep down inside, I felt unworthy. I had a successful coaching company 4 years ago, right? Successful today too. And 4 years ago, it achieved the most success I had achieved at the time. $5,000 in a single month. I had never made that in a job. I had never made that in, working for Panera Bread. I'd never made that working for my electrical engineering internship that I had done, different jobs that I had jumped around to. I was trying to figure out who the heck I was. And so I didn't see the value that I had to add to the world. And thus that reflected in my paychecks. So I had creating my coaching company. I'd started serving people, doing mindset work, personal development. I'd learned so much through all these seminars and what people had taught me. Like, I am an amazing student, and I'm amazing at taking that information, those strategies, and applying them, specifically with clients and in my own life. So I got to this point of success in my coaching company, which I said was the best month ever up until that point. And I said, something's not right here. I'm not on the right track. I think I'm doing something wrong. I better get around other people. I better build my team. I better change something up so that I can keep growing. Because if I stay here, if I stay stuck, if I stay stagnant, then man, I'm gonna run out of money. My business won't be successful. I'll lose. I'll be a loser. And so what was really driving me at that point was fear, was insecurity, was an unworthiness deeper than the confident, macho, cool, suave guy that I pretended to be on the outside. It was a mask because deep down inside I felt super insecure. And of course, way below that, from the time I was born, I've been intimately, divinely connected with my source, my highest self, guardians, angels, spirits, God, source, universe, creator, whatever we want to call it. I've the whole time been connected with that. And along the journey, I got disconnected, or at least told myself the story that I was disconnected. So I tell you this all to say, because I joined another company, turned out to not be successful like I had wanted to. I kept looking outside of me for success. I kept looking outside of me for inspiration, for the thing that would fix me, for the thing that would be the magic wand that makes everything better. I kept looking outside of me, even personal development. I love it, and I invested tens of thousands of dollars getting myself into huge amounts of debt because I felt unworthy, because I felt like who I was not good enough, because I felt like I wasn't there yet. I wasn't at the mountaintop yet. I wasn't yet earning millions of dollars. I wasn't yet, living the life of my dreams, traveling around the world. So I got to keep investing, which I love investing, And also, it depends on where you're doing it from, which at the time, people were not checking me on, hey, where is this coming from? Where is this investing coming from? Are you really connected to your why? Are you really connected to your purpose? Or is this some ulterior motive? There's no one there to ask me these kinds of deep, conscious questions. So the reason why I share it is because there might be some things or people or circumstances or events in your own life that are attempting to steal your attention, that are attempting to steal your focus, that are attempting to steal you away from your purpose, your life's work. And you may have already seen it, things that distracted you for a couple months or even a couple years or a couple decades. You may have had some gifts and abilities that you tapped into in your 20s, and then you got afraid or intimidated or scared and then ran away from and didn't come back around to for 10, 20, 30 years. That's possible, people. That happens to people. I especially notice it with spiritual people who notice spiritual gifts when they're young, in their teenage years or early 20s, and they distance themselves from it because they're afraid. They're afraid they won't fit in. They're afraid that they won't be accepted. They're afraid of rejection, of criticism. And so they don't come back to them until life says, hey, you better be aware that this is your purpose. You best be aware that there are consequences to not using and leveraging these gifts that you've been given. These are divine gifts, infinitely valuable, and you're choosing not to use them, not to leverage them, not to accept them. There are consequences to that. And life says, I'm going to keep slapping you upside the head or hit you with a 2x4 or run you over with a semi-truck until you recognize your purpose and your gifts and own them and serve people with your purpose, with your gifts, to make this world a better place, to live your purpose, to leave an impact, legacy, all that great stuff, to make a difference. So I want to bring this conversation to you because I know what it's like to want the answers from everywhere outside of me. And if there was one thing to superhuman achievement that I've discovered, it's to go within and really learn to love and be with myself, to be enough as I am, to not have to get anywhere outside of myself. It was really, like Paul was saying in the last interview, to be still, to create calmness, to create serenity, to create peace, and not feel like I had to go get somewhere or achieve something. Like my reality was perfect as it is. And everyone is at a different place on their journey. Everyone is experiencing different challenges, blocks, obstacles, resistance, fears. Everyone is at a different place. The question is, what are you afraid of? What are you most afraid of? And for me, for a long time, it was not being man enough, right? Like that was what I was constantly afraid of. Not being man enough, not being able to compare myself to my dad because all I wanted to do was to have him be proud of me and to get his love. That's what I was afraid of. I was afraid if I didn't have a stable, secure job, if I didn't have success, if I didn't have money, if I wasn't the hero of my own story on top of the mountain, having overcome the beast, the obstacle, the gauntlet, slaying the dragon. If I hadn't done that yet, I was unworthy. I felt like I didn't matter. Felt like I wasn't enough. So my biggest growth, my one thing for me, was learning to just be still, not having to do something, not being effort and external measurement focused, but rather to go within and cultivate that peace, that calmness, that connection with my divine soul, spirit, source. And the practices were meditation. The practices were going into nature and being still. The practices were, even when there's a million and one things to do, to say at 9 p.m., I'm turning off technology, or I'm disconnecting, or I'm choosing to say tomorrow I'll get back to work. But for right now, let's go relax with the woman of my dreams. Let's relax. Let's breathe. Let's be peaceful. Let's meditate, whatever it is. And also another practice was having an entire day, Saturdays now, me and my girlfriend, do no technology. One of the most challenging things for me because I want to keep working. I want to keep doing. I want to achieve more. I'm not there yet, quote unquote. But deep down inside, like, I just get to surrender that not there yet and not enough and say, God, I know you got it. Universe, source, creator, God, whatever. I got it. We got it. We got this. We are enough. I am enough. So that's for me one of my biggest breakthroughs. And I think my journey of really working on it, especially over the last couple of years, I'm grateful for the progress that I've gone through because I know a ton of young men and men in general out there are suffering, feeling like they are unworthy. I think women tend to view themselves a little bit differently than men. Can't really comment on it. I'm not a woman, but I know for men, there is a big culture of achievement. There's a culture of bringing in the money, right? Money and manhood, super tied together. Money and God, also really tied together for men. Not sure about for women. I think it's pretty similar, but I can speak for men. And I'm grateful because now I get to start really cultivating my relationship with men and serving them in a way that has them recognize their worthiness and step into their superhero role, their power, their special uniqueness and their value, their message. I know what it's like to feel unseen, unheard, unloved. Because of that experience, because of that pain, because of that suffering, all I did was party and drink and play video games and stuff down my frustration, my emotions, because I didn't know how to communicate them. I didn't think I was supposed to cry. I said, I can't cry. There's no crying allowed. Chris Burns is not allowed to cry when I'm, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. And it was tough. I drank my problems away. I numbed my problems away. I partied my problems away. So I want you to check in with, is that something that you're experiencing? What's your one thing? What's your one thing that you really get to dive into? And most likely you already know, right? Most likely you already know. When I think about the law of attraction, when I think about personal development, when I think about the universe, God, source, creator, I think about infinite potentiality. And I knew that there was something more to that than I can even grasp, than I can even put my hands on, than I could even effectively wield and relate to. But it wasn't until I surrendered trying to control everything and instead focus on controlling my own efforts, my own energy, my own thinking process to the best of my ability. There's going to be random thoughts that come up. That's okay. I don't have to control every thought that comes into my mind. I do get to control my focus, though. I do get to control when a negative thought comes up or disempowering thought, limiting thought, scarcity, lack, fear-based thought. When that comes up, how do I respond? How do I show up? That was one of my big things to really take on. So what's your one thing? Your one thing to superhuman achievement. And I want you to think about this because I created this brand, Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self, with my business partner, Wayne Myers, CEO of Burn Up Coaching Inc. Amazing guy. If y'all ever get to talk to him, definitely do. Powerful, powerful coach. No BS. Will kick your butt into your greatness in a positive, empowering, loving way. When I created this brand, I didn't know what came with it. I didn't know that greatest possible self was going to have me level up in every single area of life. Because it's not just business, marketing, mastery. Woohoo! That's not my company, Business Marketing Mastery. It's greatest possible self. And guess what areas greatest possible self deals with? All of them. Every single area of life. So if there's any area that's not working, it's out of integrity, that's broken, that needs more love, more TLC, more focus to transmute whatever state it is into positive, empowering, abundant, successful, prosperous, then I get to take that on. Becoming your greatest possible self is the best decision that I've ever made. Changing the name, used to be called I Am Having Fun, Ideas Matter Having Fun. Love it, and it's not me. It's not me. That wasn't me. That wasn't my heart. That wasn't my soul. Greatest possible self. GPS, becoming your greatest possible self. That is way more me. That's something I can live up to, live into every single day. So what's your one thing? And superhuman achievement, what does that look like for you? Misty and I talked about it earlier too. If you don't have a vision of what superhuman achievement looks like, if you don't have a vision of what you want your life to look like, you're missing out. You missed the bus. You missed the bus, because I think a lot of people miss the bus on two ways, two aspects of life, so to speak. Number one, having a clearly defined vision of what you want, and give yourself permission to change that. Give yourself permission for that to evolve. It's totally cool, totally great. And there's also the aspect of being here and now, as Paul was talking about in the last interview. If you're not here and now, you can't create. You're creating based on limitation. You're creating based on fear, most likely, what could go wrong if you're living in the past, or living in the future, or if you're living in the past, then scarcity, or regret, shame, guilt, that kind of stuff. So you either don't have a clear vision, or you don't actually live in the present moment, and you're not truly peacefully here and now, totally resourceful, totally the calm in the eye of the storm. Superhuman achievement. When I think of that, I think of Elon Musk, I think of Richard Branson. You may hate him, you may love him, Donald Trump. Superhuman achievement. These people have achieved things that are legendary. They are impacting millions and billions of lives. That's superhuman achievement. And to get there, it takes focus. I don't think Donald Trump wanted to be the president 20 years ago. I don't think so. Maybe he did. I don't know. I don't think Richard Branson, I don't know if he wanted to be a billionaire 20, 30 years ago. Does anybody have any evidence on that, confirmation on that? Let me know. Take a screenshot. Tag me at I Am Millionaire Chris. Let me know in the comments. Would love to hear if you know if Richard Branson set out to be a billionaire when he began. I don't know if Elon Musk set out to be a billionaire, or if he just started PayPal as one of his next big ventures, you know? What is it that drives these people? Did they see role models? Did they see other people around them achieving great things, and they said, I want to do the same? Henry Ford, what is it that drove him? Andrew Carnegie, what drove him? I think especially Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, from what I am aware of, they were surrounded by powerful people. So the more associations that you have that are powerful, the more inspired you are to believe it's possible. The more aligned you are with trusting that if they can do it, you can do it. And so I think that's been one of my greatest gifts, is just looking at people around me and saying, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. If Richard Branson can do it, I can do it. If Elon Musk can do it, I can do it. In the early 1900s, with those people I was mentioning, Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, I think that it was more of a secretive type of group and process of becoming their best selves and being mentored and coached. But today, it's way more readily available. So I think on the conversation of becoming superhuman, achieving superhuman things, it's to relentlessly surround yourself with people, with greater and greater people. That's the one thing, like, I'm saying it. You've probably heard it before. Are you living it? Are you in alignment with it? I'm freaking living it. This 12-hour marathon, like, I love you, and I'm not doing this to rub it in your face, but I am strategically, tactically, long-term, logically positioning myself to outpace, out-succeed anyone, anywhere over the long term. Okay? The relationships that I'm building. Some people might have better short-term success. And, there's different ventures and different ways that I can make money in the future. Who knows what they're all going to be? I have strong, clear, definite visions about what that is. In my opinion, though, I'm building so much goodwill, so many relationships with this 12-hour marathon, and doing it in a way that adds value to people, creates introductions, creates connections, creates value in your life, listening, watching right now. Like, I get to pat myself on the back and say, Chris Burns, you are adding massive value. Chris Burns, you are connecting with people at a rate that is practically unheard of. Show me someone who's connecting with more people at a faster rate. Well, I can think of someone, John Lee Dumas. He's amazing, freaking connecting with some epic world-changing people, right? He does podcast interviews every day. Maybe Engel Jones, he does 12-minute podcasts, connects with tons of people, lots of podcast episodes. That being said, right, it's not about competing. It's not about being better than other people. What I am saying, though, is my level of commitment to continuing this, to continuing the pace of connections, of relationship building, of serving people. And it's not like I even consciously chose that this is what I knew would strategically position me. It happened. The 12-hour marathon happened, and then we started filling the lineup up every single week. Our goal is up to 9 guests on a weekly basis of interviews. So that just really manifested. It really just happened on its own. I didn't go into it saying, man, I need to network with and meet as many people as possible. I'm ferociously, hungrily, aggressively, in a positive way, attempting to meet as many people as I possibly can. That was not on my radar. Now, being where I am at today, 2.5 years after starting the 12-hour marathon, I can say it's absolutely, without a freaking doubt, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. Because of the caliber of people I'm constantly being around, meeting, surrounding myself with. Let's give a phenomenal example. I interviewed an amazing human being, Gerald Rogers, earlier this year on the 12-hour marathon. And guess what mastermind group he is in? Tony Robbins, Platinum Partnership. So I got invited to an event, a mansion party last night with my girlfriend Petya, the woman of my dreams. And we show up and we're just like so freaking radiant, so energized, so positive, so happy, so uplifted, so just empowered. And people recognize it. People were relating to us the whole night as if we were in that Platinum Partnership Mastermind. Are we in it yet? No, not yet. We have not yet invested $100,000 to be in that. That being said, people said, like, you guys are a Platinum member, right? Platinum Partnership Mastermind member, right? No, we're just here helping out at this house party, at this event. That event had dozens of people earning 6 figures, right? Like, I would say just about everyone there was earning multiple 6 figures because people have to invest $100,000 to be a part of this. There was at least, in my opinion, I don't have a statistical confirmation on it and factual confirmation, but in my opinion, there was at least a dozen millionaires there, okay? Ended up being like 40, 50 people there the night. And it was just epic environment to be around. Epic, empowered, world-changing, successful, business-minded, personal development-minded people there who are invested in themselves. They're invested in growing their relationships, building their network. And me and Petya, we get to be a part of it because I have this 12-hour marathon, because Misty Gilbert, shout out to you, introduced me to Gerald Rogers, and Gerald Rogers posted something. Misty tagged me again on his post. Thank you again, Misty, for enlightening me on that post. And that's why we got it into this access into this party. I told Petya, listen, there's a lot of people in Vegas. Most of them were not at that party. We were. That says something. Granted, there's other parties, there's other millionaire tables and places to be hanging around. In my opinion, though, there's not many that, in my opinion, would be higher quality. There might be way more successful, way more powerful people meeting up in Las Vegas. It's a great city for that to happen. For the type of people that I want to surround myself with, though, I think that there's other types of people, other business owners that didn't make money with so much integrity and ethics and love and serving people. They may have made it in a not so ethical way. And they're meeting up somewhere in Vegas. It's a city where that kind of stuff happens. But I didn't want to be in that room. I wanted to be in the room that I was in last night with millionaires and people who were so freaking connected with speakers, authors, conferences, events all around the world. Like, there's no one I couldn't connect with. You know, the guy I was talking to at the very end of the night, he's like one of the Tony Robbins' top trainers for like 25 years or something like that in the 90s, up until the 90s. And dude's like messaging Tony Robbins back and forth. Has pictures with him, has like recent messages with him. Like, it's awesome. And I get to be in close proximity, super close proximity with him. So guess how far away I am from Tony Robbins? Not much. Not much. Is there time in between now and that point? Sure. You know, maybe a year, a couple of years, something like that. Who knows how much time specifically? And I'm in the same room as someone who Tony Robbins is like, bro, you're my bro. And that's the room I want to be in. So, superhuman productivity. What rooms do you want to be in? What people do you want to be around? Are you seriously, and be brutally honest with yourself, are you seriously challenging yourself to be in association with the people who you want to be like? I still have room to grow on this, right? Lewis Howes, Tom Bilyeu, like I see these people with massive, epic platforms and empowering people to be their best selves in the world. How much am I actually connecting with them? I could do it more. I could definitely do it more. And I'm taking massive action on the level that I'm at. Right? That's all my mindset. So I'm going to be brutally honest with you right now. I still have some work to do to level up my mindset to see the worth in myself. I'm still working on it, people. Shh, don't tell anyone. Just kidding. Go tell anyone you want, because I own that fact. I own that I'm still working on it. I own that I'm still leveling up my impact, my brand, my self-image, my self-worth, my confidence. I own that I'm still leveling that up. And I think that's what people love about me, is because I'm real. Some people advise me not to be so real. I've always been the person who probably shares a little too much, who gives a little bit too much away, who discloses a few too many of my challenges and obstacles. Hey, that's life. We find the balance. We find the dance, right? The perfect sweet spot of that. You won't know unless you try. You won't know unless you go. Who are you around? I want you to take out a pen right now, a paper right now, and your phone right now. First off, take a screenshot of this, put it up on Facebook stories or Instagram stories. Do it right now. Tag me. You can come back. I'll wait. And as you're doing that, write down who are the 5 people you want to be around more. It's a famous saying. Jim Rohn rocks it. Are you living it? Are you actively striving to be more like those people? Are you actively striving to be more in alignment with those people? Superhuman achievement. Be around more superhumans. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? If you want to be a superhuman and achieve superhuman things, be around more superhumans. David Goggins is another freaking beast, superhuman. If you want to study toughness, mental toughness, and resilience, go follow him. Rob Eastman, one of my mentors, teaches me about mental toughness and resilience. Amazing dude, has a podcast. If you want to be more tough, surround yourself with him. I'm like building my light worker army. I'm building my world-changing army. I'm building this tribe, this community that stands for human potential, that stands for human greatness, that stands for not just human potential, but human activation, human action, human transcendence, growth, being our best selves. I'm relentless. I'm still doing it. And I will continue to do it for the rest of my life. I'm so grateful that I developed this habit of connecting with people at such an early age. And I'm so grateful for all the opportunities that are opened up because of it, have opened up, continue to open up, and will open up in the future. I'm so grateful for how I've developed myself in the process. So getting back to the conversation of one thing, I surrounded myself by people who just challenge me to be a better version. I can't hide out. I can't hide. I can't play small. I can't be a victim. I can't pretend like I'm powerless. I can't pretend like I don't have my next step. I can't pretend like I don't know what my next step is. I can't pretend like I don't have access to get clear on what my next step is. I'm surrounded by way too many powerful freaking people. Wayne Myers, my business partner, been together for like 3.5 years now. I can't pretend to be powerless around him. He's too powerful. He's too freaking powerful. Call me out on my shit in no 0.1 seconds. Faster than I can even attempt to speak being a victim or powerless. Calls me out on it. Petia, my girlfriend, calls me out on it. Like anytime I'm not being resourceful, powerful, my greatest possible self, calls me out on it. Whenever I step onto the marathon, I can't be a powerless little victim. That don't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's just not who I am. I think in the beginning, I had unconscious tendencies and habits around it. And after doing 109 of these marathons and interviewing 600 people in the last 2.5 years, like I have really become super aware of when I'm playing small. I've become super aware of when I'm hiding out. Of course, I still have blind spots. Of course, I still have room to grow. And I'm way more aware than I was 2.5 years ago. Way more conscious, way more present to it, which is great because it's like a muscle. Anything you want to get better at, it's a muscle. Yeah, it's a muscle to be aware of when you're being a victim. It's a muscle. It's definitely a muscle to pay attention to when you feel like your power is gone. It's definitely a muscle to be aware of when you're in lack and scarcity and disbelief and disempowerment. It's a muscle. It's a awareness muscle. It's also a muscle to know if you're on track with your one thing. Okay, so obviously the one thing, the best resource for it is the One Thing book by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. If you haven't read it yet, go do it. Freaking powerful. And it just really helps you ask powerful questions to get you to the centeredness, to the alignment, to the truth, to the crux of what is your highest priority. And if you don't have clarity, that's the first step. And I've found massive clarity just by asking the questions over and over again. in the beginning, I was super unclear, went to tons of personal development. My vision probably changed a lot as I discovered new information, as I discovered who I was, because I'd never done self-reflection and self-analysis. But over time, like, it didn't change as much. And even like today, like, I know what the F I'm going to be doing in 10 years with augmented reality and personal development. Like, I'm hungry for that time. I'm hungry for that success. I'm hungry for that level of impact in serving the world. That's the one thing that is super constant for me, that I created in my statement of purpose when I first met my business partner and did it 3 years ago. I think I did the first version three and a quarter years ago, right? A couple months after I met him, we went through my statement of purpose and started it started off super vague and lacking clarity. And over time, boiled it down, got it even more effective. Looking at it every day, I would like repeat it and say it out loud every single day, and just like really, really powerful stuff. But your one thing, if you don't have clarity on it, you get to put it on your wall and start reading out loud every day. Every freaking day. If you don't have clarity, start to speak it into existence. Start to focus on it. Start to meditate on it. That will bring it closer to you every single day. One of the most powerful things that you can do to create clarity, to create momentum towards your one thing. Okay? It's absolutely incredible. Powerful. What is up, all these beautiful people? Oh my gosh, there's a lot of comments. Love, shape, spiritual gifts, heart abilities, personality, and experience. Love it, Megan. Yes, tough stuff, definitely. What's up, Robert is definitely, if you guys ain't following Robert J. Moore, go do it. Been a multi-time guest on the 12-hour marathon. Always brings a fire. Dude's up to big, big things. Love building relationships, enhancing the lives of others. So cool. You have manifested and created this awesome platform. Time. Let's get there. Amen, amen, amen. Yes, I love it. I love it. You guys are awesome. I love it. I love the engagement. If there's any questions that you have, let me know. I want to dive into embodiment more because Megan was asking about that earlier. I chose Greatest Possible Self as my brand. And not only did I choose it, but I publicly make myself stand with it and execute through it, being it, right? This 12-hour marathon, I'm living Greatest Possible Self through this 12-hour marathon. I couldn't do anything else. It's the brand. If it was called Fluffy Puppies, then I would be, and we did a 12-hour marathon on Fluffy Puppies, then that would be what I'm living in my life. And most likely I'd be an animal rights advocate. I would be spending all my freaking time on shelters and making sure puppies have homes and all kinds of great stuff. And I'd probably be broke. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, animal activists and supporters. I love dogs. Cats are cool too, but definitely a dog person. But I made this brand called Greatest Possible Self, and I made myself publicly accountable to it. So my business partner, I love the guy. He is definitely an individualist. He does not believe in group accountability. He does not believe in as much. To some degree he does, but not as much. But doesn't believe as much in, and this is just my interpretation. You can ask him. He might have a different perspective on it. But my interpretation is I feel he doesn't value the community co-creation as much. He really values being an individual and not relying on somebody else outside of you to hold you accountable. For me personally, what I've found works best for me, everyone's different, is public accountability. Is saying, I'm going to go out to Santa Monica Pier, I'm going to turn Facebook Live on, and I say, hey, I'm going to walk around this pier until I get a freaking kiss from a beautiful woman, okay? Come with me. And I walk around for 45 minutes, and I eventually get a kiss, okay? This was right before I met my girlfriend, just saying. Disclaimer, I was single. So public accountability for me was like being in the performance mode, being in like, all right, it's do or die. I'm out on the field. I'm on the racetrack, dirt bike racetrack. I love dirt bikes. I am in control, so to speak. If it is to be, it's up to me. I'm playing the game. I created the rules. Let's see how I do. Like sink or swim. Let's see. Let's see. So greatest possible self for me is public accountability, to live it and to show up and not be fluffy puppies, not be mediocre self. Because if this was mediocre self, I'd probably be like, when the guests are talking, like, and if you can see me on video right now, like rolling my eyes, totally slumped over, low energy, like that's not me. That's not greatest possible self. That might be mediocre self. That might be terrible best self, terrible possible self, the most terriblest possible self. But that's not me. So that's my brand. So Megan, my wisdom to you is find out what you want to be held accountable to. Find a coach who can help you do it. Find your message that you want to share with your audience of how you are absolutely die hard till the end of your last freaking breath. For now, you may get clarity in the future on a different message, but for now, this is how they must see you. This is who you are and what you commit and what you are dedicated to, what you are decided on, what you are determined on, what you are freaking tenacious on being every single time they relate to you. Your brand. What is your brand? You want embodiment? Figure out what your brand is. I'm the type of person that ... That's a great statement. Okay, we had you write down the 5 people that you want to surround yourself with earlier. I may have or may not have been crystal clear on the directions for that one. I feel like I kind of just flowed right through it. But this one, I'm the type of person that, for me, of course, I'm the type of guy. I'm the type of guy that blank. I'm the type of guy who does a 12-hour freaking marathon every Wednesday because that's how committed I am to my greatness. I'm the type of guy that puts other people on the platform, celebrates them, highlights them, and makes sure that they get their message out because I love other people. I know what it's like to not be seen or heard or loved. And I don't want anyone to have to go through that. I believe people's messages, if they're being and becoming their greatest possible self, is worthy for our audience. So let's get it out. I'm the type of guy who has a money date with my girlfriend every single week. And it's one of the most beautiful habits that we've created. It's one of the most transformational, powerful things that we have ever done as a couple. We do weekly reviews that are super powerful, but like the deep work, when you do it together with someone else and you create a consistent, committed habit to it, whoo, my goodness gracious. So Megan, whatever your thing is that you want to embody, figure out a process that you can do it with someone else that amplifies the energy. You know, the one thing for me is becoming my greatest possible self. Maybe the one thing for you, there's a lot of different things, but let's say it's relationships. Maybe it's the one thing for you is being the woman who deserves the man of your dreams, right? I had to become the man of my dreams so that I could attract the woman of my dreams. The woman of my dreams today, Petya, she would not for one freaking millisecond tolerate the little kid I used to be 5 years ago. The annoying, obnoxious, partier, raver, going out and getting drunk and high. Nuh-uh. Today, her wouldn't tolerate that for a second. She's like, bro, you're toxic. Get out of here. And I've really worked on myself. Like really worked on myself. Let me emphasize that again. Really worked on myself to embody my greatest possible self. I've loved myself. I've put in the energy, the effort, the focus, the intention to be this version that's with you today. So what is that you are committed to? What is it that you are committed to being and becoming? How can you embody that? The one thing, the relationship. If that's for you, maybe it's to have a weekly review with someone who's also wanting to create the relationship of their dreams. And you can ask yourself a couple questions. How did I show up as the woman of my dreams this week? How did I show up as attractive as the type of woman who wants to attract someone, the man of my dreams? The man of my dreams is, you got to be clear on who that is so that you can know who you get to be to attract that person, right? It's totally fun. And if you want support with this, send me a message. Also, you can send Petya a message. If you're a woman, men, message me. Women, message Petya. Find out how you can become the woman that you need to be, because I don't know what the heck any of that is about. I have an idea, but it's very theoretical, not as much practical. And grounded in my reality of being a woman, yeah, not so much. But contact her. She's awesome and can help you through that and help you attract the love of your life. She loves to do it. And that is a habit that you can create in your life to say, this is who I am. This is the type of man I am. This is the type of woman I am. How else can you do it publicly? I think something that takes a lot of balls is being able to share balls or woman parts, whatever you want to call it. Call it courage, right? For me, balls is courage. But courage for you, man or woman. Let's be politically correct here. Something that takes a lot of courage is to share your desires and do whatever the habit is publicly, right? Put yourself in the spotlight and say, I'm so committed to becoming the woman who attracts the man of my dreams. I'm going to show you the work that I'm doing on myself on a weekly freaking basis, okay? Guess what public show that I made was a challenge for me? I was afraid of getting freaking rejected, bro. I was afraid of getting rejected. So I went to the most public place possible, one of them, pretty public, and faced my fear and took rejection after rejection after rejection, and then a couple more rejections. Then I got a kiss, okay? So I took a lot of rejections in my world while on camera. So, how about you? What are you committed to? What are you willing to make a public declaration about? What is your one thing that you really want to dive into? And by the way, if you have a big life purpose and your one thing right now is business, and you see an area of growth is relationships and becoming the person who would attract the partner of your dreams, don't think that that's not your one thing. Don't think that that's like a distraction. For me, like going out and doing that was in alignment with my one thing. Back then, a year and a half ago, like I'm still to this day obsessed with business and obsessed with growing my business, obsessed with earning more income, obsessed with serving more people, adding more value to the world. I am obsessed with that. And back then, in particular, I was obsessed with it. And I had this inspired idea to face my fears in a completely different area of life, right? Relationships, women. The mechanism's still the same, though, right? Back then, I had a fear of rejection of business and life, people in general, not liking me. And so I went out to conquer that. So what can you do to create an environment, to create exercises that helps you overcome any kind of blocks, any kind of resistances that you have? Figure it out. Declare it publicly. If you know what it is, write it in the comments, take a screenshot, tag me on Facebook stories, Instagram stories at I Am Millionaire Chris. Would love to hear from you and what it is that you are overcoming and how you're becoming your greatest possible self. What's your one thing? What's the vision that you're stepping into? Who are you being and becoming on this journey? So would love to hear from you. Keep showing up. Keep taking on your one thing. Trust yourself. Have faith. That was another big thing for me. It's like every stage in life, every year, every couple years, you learn that next big thing that you get to break through. For me right now, it's like one of the biggest leverage points has been having faith and trusting the universe. Like, stop trying to control everything and just control what I can. And just surrender everything else outside of my control to the universe. It'll work out in my highest and best good. Trust. The universe is working for me, happening for me. Life is happening for me. So ask yourself what it is that you are creating that will really make the difference for you.